Do you know what's strange about Leonardo DiCaprio? He's never been in a single bad movie ever. We all know the classics like Titanic, Inception, and The Wolf of Wall Street, but one movie of his that always stood out to me as one of his most underrated films is Blood Diamonds. Now, if you didn't know, the term blood diamonds refers to diamonds that are mined in conflict areas and sold to fund warlords and diamond companies all over the world. The film is a political war action thriller released in 2006 starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Jimon Hunsu, and Jennifer Connelly. It is set in 1999 Sierra Leone, a West African country devastated by a decade of civil war. This movie portrays many of the atrocities of war, including the rebels' violence towards citizens, and although the characters in the film are completely fictional, the events of the story are based on the real civil war that took place from 1992 to 1999. This film is one of my favorite movies to watch, and it doesn't get enough attention. Now, before we get into this story, sit back, get comfortable, get some snacks, and like always, spoilers ahead. The movie begins in a small village in Sierra Leone. Here we meet Solomon Vandy. He's a fisherman and lives peacefully with his family. One day, rebel factions called the Revolutionary United Front, or RUF, attack and raid his village. The RUF terrorizes the village by killing innocent citizens and kidnaps many to enslave them to harvest diamonds, which funds their successful war efforts. People who refuse to join have their hands cut off as punishment. Luckily, Vandy's family manages to escape, but Vandy isn't so lucky and is captured. He is assigned to a workforce to mine diamonds as a prisoner. This is where we meet the villain of the movie, Captain Poison, a ruthless warlord who enslaves young children to his ideology of war and violence. While all that is happening, a conference of nations is being held about the illegal trade of blood diamonds. Here we meet Vandicap, a corrupt South African mining company and a major part of the international diamond industry. Remember them as they will be important at the end of the film. In the diamond mine, Vandy discovers an enormous pink diamond at the bottom of the riverbed. And if you didn't know, pink diamonds are one of the rarest colored diamonds and go for a lot more than regular colored diamonds. He sees this as his golden opportunity to get out of the country and does not want to hand it over to Captain Poison. Instead, he tries to bury the diamond while on a bathroom break. Unfortunately, Captain Poisson catches him digging, but before we can stop him, the area is suddenly raided by government troops and Captain Poison gets injured. Luckily, Vandy buries the stone before being captured. Both Vandy and Poison are incarcerated in jail, where we meet Danny Archer, a mercenary and smuggler who had been jailed for smuggling blood diamonds. He overhears a conversation about the pink diamond and decides he will try to befriend Vandy to get him to tell him where the diamond is located. Archer's pilot manages to pay the jail to get himself and Vandy out. Later at a beach bar, Archer meets an American journalist named Maddie Bowen, who is attempting to write an expose on the illicit diamond trade. She plays a stereotypical journalist who wants to save the world and stop the war, but has no information for her story. The two start flirting, but when Archer finds out she's a journalist, he leaves. During this time, Vandy's son Dia gets taken away from his family by the RUF, where he is trained to be a child soldier. This is very heartbreaking to see, as the children are forced to kill innocent citizens to desensitize them to violence. Meanwhile, Archer finds Vandy, who tried to find his family by himself but had no luck. Vandy wants nothing to do with Archer, but Archer says he has connections that can help him find his family. He is hesitant, but as the town they're in gets suddenly raided by the RUF, Vandy agrees to make a deal. Archer will get the diamond, and in exchange he will find Vandy's family. It's a win-win for both of them. They barely make it out of the town takeover and escape during the nighttime. They meet up with Maddie so she can use her connections at the UN to locate Vandy's family. She's hesitant to do so, but can't resist the fact that Archer will give her all the details and evidence about the illicit diamond trade for her story. They agree and Vandy is finally reunited with his family, but he gets very frustrated when he finds out his son Dia has been taken by the RUF. The trio then leave for the town of Kono, but on their way, they get ambushed by rebels who bring them to a small jungle village. Nothing really happens here, but they meet a guy who takes in ex-child soldiers and tries to rehabilitate them. The man offers to drive them to Kono himself, but on their route, he gets shot by one of the child soldiers. Thankfully, he survives. At Kono, Archer meets with his employer, Colonel Kodzia, and prepare to repulse the rebel offensive. Archer gives Maddie all the evidence for her expose before she leaves the country. Vandy and Archer set out in the jungle to Captain Poison's encampment to retrieve the diamond. During the night, Vandy sneaks into the encampment and locates his son, but due to his brainwashing, he refuses to acknowledge his own father, and Vandy is captured. Captain Poison threatens to kill Dia if Vandy does not retrieve the diamond for him, but before the situation can escalate further, Kodzia's army arrives by plane and launches an airstrike on the camp. Vandy is saved once again. This gives Vanny the perfect chance to get his revenge on Captain Poison, and he kills him. Colonel Kotsia isn't such a nice guy after all and betrays Archer and keeps the diamond for himself, but agrees to split it if he can get Vanny to tell him where it's buried. He brings him to the diamond, but Archer surprise attacked Kotsia and his men after realizing their colonel would eventually kill them both anyways. Archer manages to kill Kotsia, but oh no, he gets hurt in the gunfire. Vandy retrieves the diamond and they make their way to meet the pilot. Sadly, Archer collapses from his injury and takes a long look at the pink diamond as he's laying down knowing he won't make it. The two men have a good laugh together as they unexpectedly became friends during their journey. Vandy and Dia rendezvous with Archer's pilot, who flies them to safety. Right before dying, Archer calls Maddie for a final farewell. Vandy and Maddie meet in London where they execute an undercover operation meant to expose Vandicap. Vandy exchanges the pink diamond for 2 million British pounds and a reunion with his entire family. The movie ends with Vandy appearing as a guest speaker at a conference on blood diamonds where he is met with a standing ovation. The movie did a great job depicting the brutal violence that took place in Sierra Leone in the 90s. I find it hard to believe that certain nations' political climates are so unstable that people simply drive around with machine guns and massacre innocent people whenever they feel like it. It's tragic to realize how the desire for diamonds is contributing to these crimes against humanity. At the time of release, this movie helped inform Western cultures about where the diamonds really came from and to think twice about where they're buying from. Even if some of the plots are exaggerated in a Hollywood fashion, the director Edward Zwick offers a realistic depiction of the horrors this war had on people, from the child soldiers to the violence caused by the RUF. What stands out to me and makes it a great war action movie, apart from the hooking storyline, is the actors' performances. Like always, Leonardo DiCaprio's performance is top tier in this movie. He puts on a Rhodesian accent now equivalent to modern Zimbabwe today, which is a really hard accent to get right.
Boys then can use one rotten AK them against them government troops.
It may even be considered as one of his best performances yet, just in terms of sheer charisma and memorability alone. He was even nominated for Best Actor in this role, but we all know how that turned out. Interestingly, in one scene we can actually see Leo's real-life mother and grandmother playing as extras in the background at the beginning of the movie. We also can't forget about Solomon Vandy, who was played by Jimon Hunsu. He also gave an amazing performance as a supporting actor. He captured the emotion of distress and suffering caused by the hardships of war. We saw this man have his entire family taken away from him, become a diamond mining slave, and witness his son momentarily renounce him as his father. He went on an emotional roller coaster, and this can be seen by his outstanding acting. He also got nominated for an Oscar for this role, but sadly did not win. These two also had great chemistry in their scenes together. Archer's goal was to use Vandy to get the diamond, and Vandy didn't like Archer at first, but on their journey they somewhat became friends and trusted each other by the end. Jennifer Connelly, who played the part of the idealistic journalist who wants to make a difference, also had a good performance. She contributes a certain level of intellect to her role and shares some funny scenes with Leo, and when she teamed up with Vandy, you couldn't stop rooting for the trio to succeed. Another thing that I enjoyed was the soundtrack composed by James Newton Howard. The African themed soundtrack is powerful and emotional. It certainly adds to the depths of the events Vandy had to go through and the journey he goes on to find his family. I watched this movie many times and it's hard for me to find anything negative to say. One thing that didn't add up was the flirtatious relationship between Archer and Maddie. Based on some scientific data I found, Leo would never flirt with any girl above the age of 25, let alone play an actor who would do so. Maybe if they cast Jennifer Connelly from the 80s, it would have been more believable. Okay, jokes aside, the primary issue I have with the film for me is that some aspects of the plot seem to be rushed and have some pacing issues. For example, a lot of times you don't know where the characters are in Africa. They jump back and forth to a lot of various locations, making the pacing of the story feel a little offbeat and hard to follow. Another thing that could have been improved upon was the ending. The ending feels like it was just put into the movie as a last-minute attempt to handle more political issues about the illegal diamond trade with Vandicap. Although the director probably had good intentions with this to spread awareness, it came across as more forced and tacked on. I would have much preferred to have the ending be Archer dying on the mountain and seeing Vandy fly to safety in the sunset with the epic soundtrack playing. This would leave the ending more open for interpretation by the audience. Lastly, I find this movie suffers from typical action movie tropes. These include magically dodging bullets in a war and people showing up just in time to save the day, like when the colonel showed up right on time to save Vandy, or when the Sierra Leone government showed up exactly when Captain Poison was going to steal the diamond from Vandy. Apart from these small issues, I still think the goods far outweigh the negatives. Thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I recommend you watch Blood Diamonds for yourself if you haven't already. This movie is not talked about enough and is severely underrated in my opinion. But before you do check it out, comment down below your thoughts on the movie and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.